All right. Welcome to the officially called Weirdo Beardo podcast with Chad and Derek. What's up, Derek?
What's up, Shannon? How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, brother. I'm doing all right. I am chilling. Started my day off with a nice sleep late and wake up when I felt like it, and
You
was
didn't sleep late, or you still be asleep?
I mean, that's fair. For me, sleeping late would be like past 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
In the PM, that is. Um, so today, real quick, shout out to everybody who is checking us out when we're starting our little podcast here. I say last week, but it was actually only like 5 days or 4 days ago, right?
Yeah. We don't know how to tell time.
Let's just pretend it was a week. Last
week, previously on the Shield.
Previously on Weirdo Beardos, we were talking about the Thunderbolts and MCU wide view of crap, and then of course we ended off with a little bit of politics humor. And today we'll be doing the same, but today we'll be switching universes. And we're going to be centering on one particular being that everybody knows as Superman, because we got the new Superman coming out. Next week? Week after next?
Oh,
yeah.
In the next 2 weeks.
James Gunn leading the new Superman. Seems to be he's gonna go over there and be like, "Bitch, I'm Kevin Feige now."
They've been trying to get to Kevin Feige, so might as well.
Speaking of Feige, I saw that he's supposed to step down after Secret Wars.
I wouldn't be surprised. He needs a good setting off point.
Well, not only that, but like, you know, to be clear, like Feige's been doing this shit since the early '90s, really.
Yeah,
Like,
since the X-Men days.
yeah, like a lot of people don't know that. They think, oh, he's been there since like Iron Man. No, he's been there since like fucking X-Men 1.
Yeah.
And you see Kevin Feige and actually a couple of other producers and stuff names pop up on all those old movies that was made in the Fox Marvel universe.
But we're not talking about Marvel today. We're talking about the DCU.
100%, we are. I guess we'll start off with what you've been keeping up on the trailers they've been dropping for the new Superman?
I have been. Not as impressed as I would like to be.
See, I'm kind of the opposite as usual, but I wasn't excited. Like, I've never been the Superman, like, mega fan. Like, don't get me wrong, as a kid, the Superman movies were kind of the only, until Batman in 1989, Superman was the only real superhero movie out there that was, like, getting a whole lot of, I guess, attention, yeah. And so I remember as a kid enjoying those movies. I just recently saw I saw a clip from Superman 3, and my whole life I've been trying to figure out where I remembered it from. It's the part where the computer like takes over that woman.
Yeah, I remember that. As soon as you said Superman 3, that's what I thought of.
Yeah, like what's funny is that for a good bit of my life, I remember that as like some random 80s movie that like that scene. And I hadn't watched anything past Superman 2 in forever. So like finally at some point a clip came up and I was like, "Oh shit, that's that scene. What movie is this?" And then like it was like Superman 3. I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't even realize that was in Superman 3."
Yeah,
This whole time I thought it was some weird like, B horror movie or something, which yeah, for that scene is accurate. But anyway, so going back to it, I was never the biggest Superman fan, even whenever it was popular, but I do remember the nostalgia of enjoying some of the Superman movies back in the 80s.
Part 4?
Part 4, doesn't it, if I remember correctly, Superman's get worse and worse as they go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people like part 2 better than part 1. So
I remember part 1 and part 2 being like successful and enjoying them. 3 and 4 actually are so shady in my mind. I'd have to rewatch them to really judge them.
part 4 is Nuclear Man.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I do remember that. He had like the gold and black suit, right?
Yeah.
And then isn't that the one where he fights Bizarro Superman somehow?
No, part 3 he fights himself.
Okay.
He gets drunk and has a dual personality, like all of us when we're drunk.
Yeah, like the original Superman actor. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, in the 50s when they did a Superman serial, apparently the actor was quite the drinker. But anyway,
Didn't he die in his house like during a party?
something like that, like something tragic happened to him. I remember somebody making jokes about it and me being like, ha ha ha, I shouldn't laugh at that, but I did.
Yeah, you're going to hell. So
Anyway,
what do you think of the trailers?
back to what I was saying. The trailers, I'm not the biggest Superman fan as well as getting at, but when they announced, James Gunn doing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna check that out. I'm not like freaking out. And the latest trailers, I'm actually kind of excited. I want to go. I definitely want to see it. So
What do you
I'm.
think of Guardians 3?
I liked Guardians 3. I've only watched it a couple times because it's one of those movies that's actually so emotionally driven that it's a little bit more,
A
and
little
like it
taxing.
also, yeah, it's a little bit taxing emotionally. It's like trying to watch fucking,
Schindler's
I don't
List.
know, Schindler's List or one of those dog movies that's always sad,
Dog movies. What dog movies are you watching? The Old Yeller?
like Old Yeller or Marley and Me or A Dog's Life. Like any dog-centered movie is like, oh, I love the dog, and then the dog dies, and I want to die. Like that's the whole story.
We
But
need to keep away from animal movies.
but anyway, I'm excited for the new Superman movie. I think that a lot of people are going to dislike it because I do think that like it looks like in the trailer that it's not as Superman centered, grounded as people might have expected. There's a lot of characters being thrown around.
Yeah.
Wonder Man. There's Guy Gardner, the offshoot Green Lantern, which I'm excited for him because Nathan Fillion kills everything he's in. So I don't know why we wouldn't like that. I saw the new trailer where he is flipping people up with the green hands coming out of the ground, and one of them's a middle finger. I thought that was awesome.
Nice.
And then, of course, speaking of dogs, Crypto looks fun. There's already a lot of people saying that if Crypto gets hurt, they're going to riot. And I'm like, yep, me too.
Wow. Millions of people die in these fights, and you're worried about the damn dog?
Yeah, well, the dog better be okay. The dog from another planet that's probably invincible better not get hurt.
He gets hit by a car and it's over.
Yeah, the car. Like, if Crypto gets hit by a car, where the car is going to be hurt. I don't know if you know how Kryptonians work, but
Kryptonite encased car.
they throw him a kryptonite bone and he can't help but pick it up.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of people are saying that it's going to be cluttered and it should be centered more around Superman and his shit. And I'm like, I don't know. One, I think we've seen enough of James Gunn taking characters we thought we couldn't give a fuck about and making us love it. So
Yeah.
I have every bit of faith that he's going to be able to do that with this gang of dudes and chicks.
I hope you're right. What do you think happens if it fails? Like, say it's a box office bomb.
Well, first of all, I don't see that happening. Pre-sales is already fucking through the roof.
Yeah.
But let's say it does. Let's say the first weekend goes and nobody likes it, and then it just dies off.
What do they do with the DCU now?
Well, I mean, if I want to be a dick about it, like isn't that kind of like half the DCU story? Like they're like, well, here's something good, and everybody's like, yeah, and then the next movie bombs.
Right.
Right? So I mean, if we're looking at it at their track record, this movie should bomb because Batman did pretty decent, right?
It's true. Even though Batman's not technically in the DCU or DCU.
No, but it is a DC's movie, and so
Yeah.
I'll call it it's on the it's like on the roster or whatever.
I
It's
hear
not
Matt Reeves might not be doing Batman Part 2.
there was it was greenlit very quickly, but I also don't I haven't heard much about it since after the Penguin show, which also did good and was good. So I thought there was gonna be more add to that, or at least a more buzz to whatever future projects are going to come from that. But we haven't really got any.
I heard Matt Reeves has the health issues.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That
He hasn't
sucks.
come right out and said it, but they've said that it's been Batman 2's been delayed because of health issues surrounding Matt Reeves.
Hmm.
So Superman, back to Superman.
Yeah, back to Superman. Oh, okay. So I'm not seeing anything on the sickness, but I am seeing a lot of people asking if the movie was canceled. And so far, Matt Reeves delayed it to October 1st, 2027. And all that. Basically, he's going to have to finish the script, and then Gunn has to approve it.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Superman. Uh, I if this fails, which I don't think it will to a certain degree, it might not be a resurgence of everything's DC, like some DC fans might want it to be. But I do think it's going to do well. I do think that it's going to resurge at least the Gunverse of what we're going to get from DC right now.
Yeah.
And assuming that everything goes well, he's probably gonna I don't see Gunn trying to backtrack and bring back shit from the other DCU. He's very adamant that this is his own thing. He's been so far he's gone so far as to say, people who are begging for him to bring Robert
Henry
Pattinson
Cavill.
into it, or Henry
Oh.
Cavill back, or any of that. Anyone else, even right now, there's supposed to be people that's boycotting the movie, and he's like, "Yeah, I think we'll be fine." you know.
Yeah.
So he's pretty adamant on creating his own universe and trying to make that work. So I don't know, but I've always said that all this, they're not going to do any multiverse stuff, at least not right now in the DCU. But Crisis on Infinite Earths is also one of the biggest DCU properties ever. So if they never do it, I don't see much expansion to the DCU.
Yeah.
As much as everybody's probably sick of multiversal shit, or at
It
least
kind
for a
of needs.
minute there, it was in every movie and everything for a while. Now it's just everybody's cold on it, and the MCU is still trying to lean on it a little bit.
They got to
But
finish off their next phase.
yeah, but as far as the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, I think that the Flash tried to delve into some stuff on that, and obviously because of its CG, there was a lot of people that did not like it. I think
Yeah.
the Flash might be one of the few movies that's not critically acclaimed that me and you actually agree on, if I remember correctly.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, claymation CGI aside, it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
And even with old boy's fucking crazy record of public doing dumb shit.
Yeah, being a criminal.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was a cool little delve. I even thought that the nod to like him being stuck in whatever universe fucking uh George Clooney's Batman is in is kind of
Yeah,
funny, you know? Like that was a funny ending. Originally that was supposed to be Christian Bale, if I remember correctly reading about that. They were trying to get Christian Bale to walk out at the end.
that would have
But
been cool.
right, I think that would have been that actually would have solidified the movie better than Clooney. No offense to Clooney, but
Oh, he's gonna
also
hear this and beat your ass.
oh, Clooney's apologized publicly. I don't think he'll have any beef with me over saying that. Um, plus I'll be like, shut up, Danny Ocean. Let's go rob somebody.
Right?
But anyway, back to Supes. So we've covered a little bit of Superman. Let's go into what I think me and you would both agree on. Again, something we can agree on for once is that one of the better Superman movies was Man of Steel.
Yeah. I will find him.
You will find him, Zod. Calm down. Which, you know, I will find him. That scene, it's got the same energy, and it always makes me think of when Blade jumps down off of that car and he's like, Frost! You know, like, it's like the same energy.
It reminds me of whenever Gary Oldman's like,
Say that again, brother.
I said, it reminds me of The Professional when Gary Oldman's like, everyone.
Everyone. I actually saw, again, we're going to be going back and forth from staying on point here, but I actually saw an interview where he was saying that was an outtake. Like
Oh,
Gary Oldman,
wow.
when they were doing the recording the professional, he did like 4 or 5 takes of just like him going, you know, bring everyone, and the guy was like, "What?" And he's like, "Everyone," like just very serious and like to the point. And then like last take, he was just like, "Let me do one more." And so he literally was like, "I'm gonna overact and be stupid and do this," and that's what ended up in the movie.
It worked. It definitely
Right?
worked.
Yeah,
So, Man of Steel.
I enjoy interviews about actors talking about like silly shit like that a lot.
Yeah, me
But
too.
anyway, so Man of Steel, when it came out, I remember like again, it was similar to this situation where I was like, I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but this looks cool. I like the visuals. I like, you know, this dark like it was coming off of the Bale verse, you know, the Nolan verse or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so we're doing this dark, seedy, you know, whatever verse. And I was like, all right. And then like I liked it because Superman wasn't campy and he wasn't like he was your like truth, justice, and for all, blah blah blah. But he wasn't like boringly campy and like Mr. Too Good to be, you know, to wrap somebody's truck with a bunch of telephone poles or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
he wasn't like fucking Mr. Rogers with superpowers. You know, he
It was
was
him becoming
troubled.
Superman.
Yeah, he was troubled. He was going through shit. He was trying to fucking understand what to even do, being technically a kind of a god on our planet, you know?
Yeah.
And so I dig that. And I think that they did really good with like building the character and then like having the right amount of action. It built up, and then you get to the third act. By the third act, it was just like we're smashing through buildings and going all kinds of crazy, you know?
Yeah. Destroying Metropolis.
And then you know, they tried to come back in Batman v Superman and kind of like show that that was what, you know, drove what would be a little bit of a rivalry there between the main two heroes in the DCU. So all in all, I always thought that a lot of what they did with Man of Steel was nailed it. It was just right on the head there.
Yeah, I wasn't too too big of a fan of Man of Steel going into it because of Superman Returns. Superman Returns
Superman
really
Returns
kind of
was
blew me out.
Superman Returns was kind of a dud. Like even whenever I was trying to like that one because
Yeah, me too.
I was, it was years after any kind of Superman, and the trailers did make it look like it was going to be an updated kind of like good version of it, but there was so much camp and like even like Kevin Spacey didn't like. I thought he was going to be the most awesome Lex Luthor, and I don't know if I can blame him. I can blame him for other things, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I can blame him for that character kind of bombing.
yeah, it's probably in the script.
Yeah, it had a lot to do with the script.
But yeah,
Oh,
so by the time Man of Steel came out, I was kind of like, yeah. But after watching it, I was like, this is a really good movie.
mm-hmm. The and it's I mean to be honest, the cinematography and the music, the score, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Michael Shannon murdered his Zod. Henry Cavill, kind of unknown at the time, came forward and just kind of murdered that. At face value, I didn't like Amy Adams at as Lois Lane, but she did the role justice. She did very well. Um, Kevin Costner as Jonathan
Whispers
Kent.
his way through that fucking movie.
Oh, he whispers his way through every movie.
Yeah,
Have you not watched Yellowstone? He
yeah.
whisper gangster runs a fucking ranch, like it's like
Some
it's
people
it's
on
like
set.
Sons of Anarchy with fucking horses instead of fucking motorcycles. Which by the way, again, sidetracking, but that's a fucking good show. The ending was kind of something. Like
I still
I
haven't
guess
watched
maybe
the ending.
I guess I just didn't want it to end. When it comes down to it, I think that's why I didn't like the way certain things ended. But also, I don't want. Did you watch like any of the final season?
I watched some of like the first half that they did.
So you got up to the point where a certain person dies, right?
Yeah, I did
Okay.
see that episode.
Okay. That was the point in which it took the turn where I was like, I kept like waiting for it to be fake because I thought it was one of those kind of like points where a main character of a story dies and you're like, where does this story go from here?
Yeah, I
But
knew it wasn't fake because of all the behind the scenes shit that was going on.
yeah, but I did like it. It turned out very well for the ending. It was it was pretty cool. But anyway, rewinding back to Zack Snyder's
Superman.
Man of Steel. Um so this was the first movie that
He died. Hello? 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 Am I even in here?
Snyder. Hey, there you are.
There we are.
Sorry, Bubba. I don't know. I think that was actually on my end.
Hmm.
You still
So what
there?
were
We
you
good? We
saying?
good?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
All right. So the last thing I was saying was Snyder. Was that the first time Snyder was involved with the DCU,
Yeah, I believe so.
or was okay? That's what I thought. Um,
Uh-oh. You died again.
yeah, I'm clicking in and out a little bit. Let me see if there's something fucked up on my computer. Oh, I see. Microsoft Edge decided that this was a perfect time to start installing shit on my computer. Stupid shit. All right.
Fuck
I
Microsoft Edge.
I should not have any more problems here. We good?
Okay.
Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. Fuck you,
Uh-oh. I think you died again.
Microsoft. On in Zack
You-
Snyder apparently to what?
Go ahead, you broke up again.
Oh. I'll say Christopher Nolan did work with Zack Snyder some for his stuff. Apparently.
Yeah, I heard Goyer was having problems with the third Batman movie, and instead he kind of went ahead and wrote something about Superman, and that's what turned Christopher Nolan on to it. He knew he wanted to produce it, but not direct it.
Right. Goyer. So Goyer, what did he do? He did the first. Did he have writing? Was he writing on the first two?
He was writing on the first Superman, Man of Steel. I don't know if he gets full credit on it, but he was the reason why they shifted to this.
Oh, okay. So
I
was
like
there
the way the
ever? Do
movie's
you know?
structured.
Yeah. Was there ever any thought that that would be like at that point they did Man of Steel, and it was directly after we had like all the Nolan verse of Batman, right?
Yeah,
I wonder how hard they were trying to suck his dick to be like, all right, let's just roll your dude into fucking Superman. Like
probably pretty hard because the Nolan movies made bank.
yeah. But Nolan wasn't in. Nolan wanted it. That was it. That was his world.
Yep.
What do you think about that choice? What would you think of if we had had a Christian Bale popping up in a post-credit scene at Man of Steel?
I think it would have been forced.
Yeah,
I think you've got two very different realities that these characters come from. Like you've got Christian Bale's Batman universe, which is very, very dirty, realistic, and Zack Snyder's almost it's still fantasy, so
right.
it's still way above dealing with alien technology and stuff like that. I think it would have been a forced play at that point.
I agree to a certain degree, but I also think that there's no way it wouldn't have worked. Like you had so much following for that, and then if you just fold it in and try to bring in the hyper dark realism while also kind of folding in all the fantasy that's in Man of Steel. I think they could have made it work, but you're not wrong in saying that it would have felt forced, especially with the fact that it would have been forced. You know what I'm saying? Like,
This would have been a decision by committee, not by an auteur.
yeah, and that is a big problem with movies that you know.
Well, that's what kind of doomed the DCEU was that they started doing like they do Batman versus Superman. There's supposed to be a Man of Steel too, but the company was like, no, let's go ahead and put Batman in there and set up the Justice League.
Yeah, they wanted to hurry up and catch up to the Avengers.
Yeah,
On the one hand, I kind of get that, but I also think that one of the main things that made the MCU work was they had at least what we had 6 movies that built original or not original, but legacy characters for the MCU,
yeah.
and then they all came together. And when it came to DCU, they were like, let's do one movie, then we'll do another movie, and then boom, like
And then we have our own Avengers.
yeah.
I did like Superman versus Batman. I'm one of the few people that do.
I'm the same in a certain sense. Like I like the extended version. I think it plays out better. It
Yeah, I
has
agree.
it has a few additional things that kind of like lines out some of the plot holes, some of them, obviously. There's quite a few. And we can talk all day about fucking Lex Luthor in the or what I would like to refer to as Alexander Luthor in those films.
I enjoyed his take on the character.
Do what?
I enjoyed his take on the character.
See, I thought that it would kind of work because it kind of felt like he was trying to do Lex Joker from Dark Knight, you know?
Yeah,
Like a quirky, fucking weird psycho version of Lex. And I guess you could say I hoped it worked, but I almost immediately knew it wouldn't. And it was so, and this is no disrespect to the actor who I could pretty much like and everything else he's in, but I just don't think that he had the stature for that role. Like even the new Lex Luthor has a better stature and look for Lex Luthor, and
yeah,
that's fucking what's his name, Holt.
yeah. Lester Holt? No, that's the news guy.
Um, Zachary Holt, is that his name?
No, I don't think so.
I can't remember his first name, but he was Beast in the fucking new X-Men. We all know he's been things, and he's a very good actor. And so I feel like he's gonna do okay. I'm still hesitant because he's so young looking. I
Yeah,
think there's something about having at least a little bit aged Luther that makes it more menacing or more solidified, you know?
more diabolical.
Yeah. But I mean, Lex Luthor had to be a kid at some point, right?
Yeah, that's what I liked about Snyder's Lex Luthor is that it seemed like him before he became that aged professional. It was kind of like the spoiled brat version.
Right. So Michael Shannon as Zod.
Kills it.
Oh my god. And like actually the weird thing
Oh
about
my
Michael
God!
yeah, oh my Zod. It was Zod like.
Right?
But I think he nailed it, and he also like I've always underestimated Michael Shannon as an actor. I guess physically, the way he looks, and maybe because like one of the first times I really saw him as an actor was in 8 Mile, where he just played like a shitty stepdad for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I guess that I kind of like put that on him for every other role for a while, but he's actually an awesome fucking actor in everything else I've seen him in.
Yeah, he's definitely a good actor. Oh, thank you.
So, do you think that the general's role in Man of Steel is like kind of a letdown later when you find out that that's fucking Martian Manhunter?
Yeah, it's kind of
Like
weird
in
that they
retrospect,
forced
when I
him in.
rewatched it recently, I was like, that came to mind when he come walking down the hallway. I was like, at this point in the game, you wouldn't fucking reveal yourself to fucking
Right?
Superman.
It's like, no, I was having a bad day.
Yeah. But um when if you don't think about that role, he was, and that guy's actually awesome. He's in the Blacklist and shit. Um he's a really good actor. He was in The Matrix too.
Yeah, he
Uh
was.
Commander Locke. That was actually the first time like you have a role where like you first recognize an actor or you
Yeah.
first see an actor, like he's Commander Locke to me. He'll always be Commander Locke to me. But now he might have been surpassed because I watched the Blacklist so hard. Now he'll probably be the lieutenant of the of the task force for forever in my mind. But I'll tell you about something else I watched recently, DCU. This is trailing back before Gunn was in the driver's seat, I think. But I watched that Blue Beetle movie finally.
Yeah, you were saying that.
It
I
wasn't
think I
awful.
saw it.
Like a lot of people think it was awful. I thought there was a lot of like really good visual effects in that movie. Like they did a really good job of like melding some kind of weird like almost nanobot style technology into a kind of Green Lantern-esque character that can do almost anything with their imagination, basically. But also having like the look of an Iron Man suit, or the look of even and then like the feel of a symbiote. They even say symbiotic at one point. Um, that they, they're becoming symbiotic, which was basically that the character and the MacGuffin, I guess you want to say, the item that chooses him and straps onto him and makes him become the character.
On is a good idea.
Do what?
I don't know if saying straps on to him is a good idea. Makes me think of other things.
But I will say that like there was some real good feel good moments. Like there was some cookie cutter. There was a whole lot of like, oh, that's convenient with that movie. And so like I get why anybody would have some bad things to say about it. But the performances and the story itself, the hot little chick that he's kind of like got the romance with, she's cute and plays well. And like the storyline, though a little bit obtuse, is actually not bad. Like I thought it was pretty good. Like there's a part where like the Mexican grandma just starts blowing people to death with first of all, let me finish the sentence before you say anything. The Mexican grandma starts blowing the hell out of people with like a minigun, and this is like, whoa,
I was picturing something else.
Mm-hmm. I knew you would, you weirdo.
Beardo.
Weirdo beardos. But anyway, all in all, I'd still give it like a 5, maybe 6 at best. But it was way better than what I expected, because the way people talked about it was like it was a 2, and it's like, this isn't that bad,
I don't remember that movie that much, so
Well,
it didn't stick out to me.
I watched it on like one of the free services, like, so it's not like it didn't do well and nobody's talking about it. But I'm sure there's like at least one proud Spanish person who's like, this movie's awesome. Because it encompasses a lot of like family aspects and a lot of, you know, Latino or Spanish kind of speaking peoples.
They're gonna be deported.
I mean, actually, the Blue Beetle would be a really good ICE, like vigilante, I think.
Saving people from ice.
And we're not talking about Antarctica, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But but back to Supes. Clark Kent.
Superman.
Also, I think there's going to be just enough comedy in camp. I just don't know if like how much of it's going to be like how much of it's being revealed in the trailers,
Yeah.
But that one part always gets me where Wonder Man sticks his head over the ledge or whatever, and he's like, "Stop messing around!" And at that moment, they show Superman roll over, and he just goes, "I'm doing important stuff," And it's pretty funny. But it's also like the first time I saw that particular trailer, I was like, "Is that Johnny Knoxville?" Like it looked like Johnny Knoxville for a second,
Wow.
It's like, my name's Clark Kent and welcome to Jackass, and he like flies into a building.
It'll be one hell of a Superman franchise.
Can you imagine Superman crossed with Jackass?
Right.
Like all the shit Superman could do and not get hurt, so he's just like doing everything,
This bull's gonna kick me in the balls.
Yeah.
Bull breaks a leg.
He's like, this is the Kryptonian wood chipper, and he like jumps into a wood chipper, but it fucking just falls apart, and he just standing there smiling. You know? Oh, the
What could have
Kryptonian
been.
wood chipper. That sounds like a really fucked up sex position, actually.
Done it.
He done it. Yeah, man. Me and my girl did the Kryptonian wood chipper last night.
You still can't walk straight.
Yeah.
Well, neither can I.
Yeah. And you can't say the words, now jump it to level 2 without her getting, a little bit moist.
Wow.
So the future of the DCU at this point, what do you think's in store? Like, I haven't delved into whatever's in the water supply right now on future movies with the DCU, so maybe you know more than me. You know anything?
I know that they're in the middle of production with Supergirl. I think that's about to wrap if it hasn't already. So we know we got Supergirl coming. They still haven't Batman the Brave and the Bold. They still don't have a script for it. So they're trying to rush Batman, but Gunn swears he's not making a movie without a script first. So we'll have to wait and see.
I am a big fan of who they picked as Supergirl.
Yeah, me too.
She's super hot and super cute, and she also looks way too young for me to sexualize, but apparently she's old enough for me to sexualize.
So she's above 12.
Yup. Like, well, she was the one that was in House of the Dragons where she played somebody who was supposedly like 15, and it was like, oh no, I don't like looking at her because she's beautiful,
She definitely made that first half of that season.
Oh yeah, and she was so good that, as an actress, just to be clear, that I almost like I kind of had to let the older version of her grow on me.
Yeah, me too.
The actress that played her, I eventually came around, but I was kind of like, I didn't even know who she was when they did the time jump,
Yeah,
But
me neither.
once it grew on me, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. She's cool too. She's also attractive, even whenever she's kissing her uncle.
That's weird.
Even when she's making out with Doctor Who.
Was that Doctor Who?
Yeah, Matt. Is it Matt Reeves? No, wait.
No, Matt Reeves, the director of Batman.
Matt Reeves is the director of Batman. It's fuck. What's that fucker's name? He was in fucking whatchamacallit? Morbius too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was like the best actor, and Matt Smith, that's his name.
That sounds like a made up name.
It does sound like John Doe's brother,
Yeah, Matt Smith.
It's like we have two possible what do you call it?
Names.
No,
My
like
stage name is Matt Smith.
Whenever you're like what do they call it when the cops have like a person?
AKA.
No, they have like perpetrators.
Perpetrators.
There's a word for it. I'm drawing a mind blank on what the fucking word is. Suspect. Thank you.
Usual suspect.
Thank you, mind, for remembering words.
About time.
But anyway, doesn't it sound like you have two suspects and it's like we don't know their names, so it's fucking John Doe and Matt Smith,
Yeah.
But to be clear, I don't even really like or got into any of the Doctor Who's, but I've never even watched more than 1 or 2 episodes of any Doctor Who. And Matt Smith is my favorite Doctor Who. That's how much I like Matt Smith.
Wow, I haven't seen a lot of Doctor Who either.
It's just like, if I can be without offending
Judgmental.
any without offending any big Who fans, I will say that like I I appreciate it for what it is because I'm a big fan of Douglas Adams, but I always felt like Doctor Who was like not as funny Douglas Adams
Yeah,
because it's like the Hitchhiker's Guide without space and with more time and dimensional shit, you know?
yeah,
I liked the way that Douglas Adams would take astrophysics and, you know, space stuff and just make it seem very real but hilarious, you know?
yeah,
Whereas Doctor Who is a little bit more like you have to suspend a lot of disbelief to like fall into that world for me.
yeah. It's definitely no Superman.
It's definitely no Superman. Like, if only the Doctor could learn to wear glasses when he's not being the Doctor, you
Yeah.
know?
Then keep a secret identity secret.
Yeah. And Superman would never have anything as stupid as whatever the screwdriver is called. Don't they have like some kind of doesn't he have some kind of screwdriver? That tells you how I can't even make fun of Doctor Who because I don't know enough about Doctor Who to make fun of it.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe he has a screwdriver. I don't know.
He has some kind of screwdriver.
Like the drink or the tool.
I mean, probably both, but you know, it's like the sonic screwdriver. That's what it is. That's what it's called. The sonic screwdriver.
Wow.
It's
Sponsored by Sonic.
a function of it's effectively his like Swiss Army knife, you know? Like basically he can just do whatever. It's like his do whatever machine in his hand, you know?
I have a
Like
do whatever machine
at
in my
least
hand.
fucking like Rick from Rick and Morty like would invent everything. But
Yeah.
I think that Doctor Who is more like, my sonic screwdriver will do that. Anyway, let me get off of Doctor Who before they cancel me for talking shit on Doctor Who.
Yep. Back to
'Cause
Superman.
I don't know though. Like, I wonder how everybody's feeling right now in the Doctor Who verse. Because I don't know if you've kept up enough, but like Doctor Who, the newest Doctor Who was a black guy, and a while back they had a woman Doctor Who. That was controversial, and then now they have a black guy Doctor Who, right? And then suddenly, at some point during the last part of the season of the black guy Doctor Who, it went back to a woman Doctor Who. And all I
Hmm.
can think of is there's a bunch of white dudes pissed off.
Yeah. You know
it. Like, I never give a shit when they like do any of that stuff. I'm just like, okay, it's never about like, for me, it's never about like, oh, they made somebody into a woman or they made somebody into a non-white dude. And it's like, I don't care as long as you do the character well, you know? Like
it. Yeah.
if you have some, you know, you throw in some stuff about that part of the character and give it reason, give it background, then I'm fine with it. Um I don't really give a shit. I don't have any white boy loyalty in me, you know? Like,
Uh, you race trader.
yeah, I'm definitely a race trader. I'm definitely an inward lover. I'm all those things.
Wow.
But I don't I've never been one that's like too critical about those things as long as you're still being, you know, doing well to the story and doing good to the character, you know.
Yeah.
They've done this with so many characters. You got Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Now you've got games where they work together and shit, and it's awesome. Everybody loves it. You got, you know, there's all that talk of like now we don't know if Bond's gonna. They wanted Idris Elba to be Bond, and then they wanted a girl Bond, and everybody was like, "No girl Bonds," and I was like, "Okay, God forbid we have a woman womanizer," you know?
That's right up your alley.
Could you imagine like a female Bond who's bisexual, but somehow she's more like uh
Misogynist.
misogynistic than James Bond is, you know? And like to be clear, I don't know if the new James Bond was all that misogynistic. Like he was just, you know, he's just hopping through some vaginas a little bit, but like, you know,
I,
he's a dude.
I heard him called emo James Bond the other day.
That's fair, but I also think he was like real. He was probably the most realistic Bond because he had to be halfway psychotic,
Yeah.
and then and then you know. But I mean, you go back in the day to like the old Bonds. There was a little misogyny in there. I don't know if it was direct misogyny more than it was just male chauvinistic stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, you know. They're gonna fucking people are gonna do what they do with characters, and I don't. I've always been one that says I do agree with some of the idiot white people that say, "Oh, just make your own character if you're gonna do that," to a certain extent. But I also don't hold like a candle to having to keep some true, you know, original character just because it happened to be a white dude originally. Every fucking character was a white dude originally.
Yeah.
You know,
Even females back in the Renaissance time was played by males.
played by males. Yeah, but anyway, so DCU future is kind of looking fun. We got Supes coming out soon. We got Supergirl in production. We got somebody supposed to be working on another Batman movie. How many of them? I mean, we got so many Batmans, man.
Yeah, you've got well, they're trying to have two Batmans, one in the DCU, and one that's alternate world.
It's
So
just like straight Batman.
yeah,
What did you think about Matt Reeves' Batman's at the end where they brought up Joker out of nowhere, kind of?
it's a little forced, but
Yeah, that's what I felt too. Like I don't. Also, going back on that, I will say again that I still kind of hate Paul Dano as anybody. like, I
wow.
don't, like I don't know why, man. Like, he's probably a really nice guy. He's a good actor, but God,
Wasn't
there's just something about his face and the way he acts that makes me loathsome to everything he plays.
wow. Even in There Will Be Blood.
Most especially in There Will Be Blood because he's playing like a piece of shit, you know. Like,
Yeah,
and so I don't know. Like, I think that actually works for him for most of the characters he plays because I fucking hate him, you know? Like you're supposed to hate the characters he plays, you know? And so I
yeah. I
guess that
didn't.
works out for him, but it doesn't work out for him when I find Paul Dano playing anything else. Like I don't like him. You know, I just don't like him.
Wow. We should change the name of this podcast to "Fuck Paul Dano."
And shout out to Paul Dano if it ever gets to his ears that he's a great actor and probably an awesome person. And I'm not quoting on him as a person. It's just like when you go if you're hanging out with a group of friends and there's just one guy who you just don't like his face, you know, like I just don't. I don't like you, you know, like you're a human being, and I give you rights as a human being, and I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't like you, you know.
Wow, don't hang out with Chad. Jesus.
But enough of enough of me like tearing down Paul Dano as a person.
He's gonna email you.
That's fine. He can let him. Let him. He can. We can do like a charity boxing match, and he can kick my ass. I don't care.
Wow.
He's. I promise you, he's in better shape than I am. You know, like.
Especially being in the Riddler role. He had to bulk that.
Yeah, right. Which, to be clear, I did notice that he was wearing the same glasses I own in that movie.
So is it just y'all two are too much alike? Is that why you hate him?
Yeah, he's taking all my roles. I every role Paul Dano ever got was my dream role, and I wish I had it, and I would have done it better than him. You know.
You should have an act off contest with him. That's it.
Um,
Paul Dano would call you out. You must act against Chad Perone.
yeah, a guy who's acted in 4 non-movie movies. No offense, Derek.
Oh, come on. Those are movies.
Do what?
Those are movies.
I didn't say they weren't movies. I said they were non-movie movies.
It's a montage.
Let's see. What have I starred in? I've been in. If I had an IMDb, it would be 2 of your movies. Being what? Because was I in The Curse of Sarah Jane?
No, you were not in the Curse of Sarah
Okay, I
Jane.
wasn't in The Curse of Sarah Jane. I remember going out to Sarah Jane Road to film some of it with y'all,
Yeah.
but I guess I wasn't in it. And then I was I was one of the main starring roles in
To Kill the Fat Man.
Kill the Fat Man. And then not to mention what would be considered a short film, directed and written by me, The Shaft Monks.
Yeah, I watched that the other day.
And then I was in Christopher Dombrowski's Nosferatu Electric Boogaloo.
Wow.
And I was also in Christopher Dombrowski's they is it They Hunger? They Hunger, I think is what it was
Maybe.
called. And I wasn't even really, you didn't even see my face in the role I was in. I was replacing somebody for like 4 seconds of a scene, really.
Wow.
And then I have an upcoming role as the Penguin.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
In a retelling of Batman Nightfall, which I read his script all the way through now, and it's really good. It's very centered. It's very grounded. Like it feels like Nolanverse kind of has some influence, as well as like obviously the animated DCU.
Yeah.
But the basics, he actually really stripped down the basic storyline of what he was going for and did it really well.
Is this going to be animated?
No, it's going to be live action. He's working out right now to get in shape for the Batman role.
Oh wow.
Well, obviously, I don't have to work out for my role because I'm playing the Penguin.
Fair enough.
But I'm going to be doing your favorite accent for it.
Oh yeah. Hackneyed British accent.
Yeah, fucking Cockney fucking snatch. You know, your favorite shit.
I'm allergic to that shit.
Oh, I thought it was funny because I was sitting there like figuring, like when I did that recording, I think I sent it to you. And
Yeah, you did.
I was like trying to learn all the little like aspects of doing the accent. Like you can't pronounce H's. A lot of times if you have a word that ends in a TH, you'll just end it in an F kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you'll use an F at the beginning, like, what do you think? You think that's gonna be okay? You know? Or you never pronounce H, so it's just like, he told me he's gonna be over there in front of the YOLO. In front of the YOLO. You can see him at the end of the horizon, you know.
Oh boy.
Is it making you twitch?
Yes, it's making me twitch.
But yeah, that's what I was going for, and when I was learning it, that's all I could think of. I was like, man, Derek would be like fucking hanging himself behind me if he had to listen to me do this for hours.
Yes, definitely.
But I've already read my lines. I'm only in the beginning and the end to be truly revealing of the film, but I
Spoiler
do get
alert.
I do get a handful of lines, and I get to stroll into one scene acting like an asshole, and kind of not at the end. I get a little bit of a what's coming to me.
Fish.
Fish,
Yes.
which
What comes to a penguin?
what do you think? Like, I want to run this by you. I was going through a bunch of stuff with John on the character, and he's actually very cool. He said he's very open to whatever I want to do as long as I'm consistent with it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm looking into possibly making a mesh of the original like penguin that you know from every comic book and like the original 60s,
Yeah.
but also I want to like throw the gangster slash new penguin aspect on it, so it's not like directly the same. So
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to go with a top hat. I'm thinking about a fedora. I think a fedora would be better. But I do want to stick with the monocle, but I'm only going to bring out the monocle to read, so it's not something that's just there all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Where do you get a monocle from?
I'll build one. I don't give a shit. I'll put a
That's a
fucking I'll put a key ring on a fucking glass little jar that I got my fucking dabs in and call it a monocle.
wow.
But John's gonna hear this and be like, the fuck you are. but some of the other aspects is that I thought it would be interesting to have him have like Bell's palsy or something. So I can like do the little thing with my mouth, So it kind of
Looks
looks
like you
like,
have a stroke.
yeah. And like one eye's kind of closed, And it also could give me a reason to kind of like pull the mouth down and kind of maybe give him a little bit of a to the voice, a little weirdness to it. The only thing that I'm questionable even putting into this character is the
Man.
like that's the only thing. That's the only thing that I'm like, maybe in a laugh. Like maybe that's part of his laugh. That might work. But like I cannot work the into anything and not be too weird or campy about it.
Just do that after he says everything.
You know, I'm not going to think that you're fucking serious right now.
Man.
like I said, I almost would like not even use it, but I might try to work it into like a laugh. Like maybe his laugh is like, like.
When y'all filming?
Oh, right now I don't know. He's still working on. Like he finished the script, and I suppose he's still, in the pre-production phase, obviously. But I
Is
will
it
be.
night? You're doing Nightfall?
It is based on Nightfall, but I will say that like there's a lot of characters that are in Nightfall in the full Nightfall story that aren't even involved in this. It's a lot. It's a stripped down version of Nightfall, but it is very much like the. Not to spoil anything, it is like the basic story of like every Bruce is loses everything. Bruce gets hurt by Bane. Bruce has to have somebody take the role for a while, and then
Yeah.
Bruce makes his return. That's kind of the basic story.
That's Nightfall.
But in Nightfall, there was like a whole other character he brought in, whereas in this one, it's more leaning towards um uh
Didn't Azrael take over or something?
Yeah, it was, I mean, I think it was Azrael, but I'm trying to remember. He had like a French name that was his full like real name, but I think it was Azrael was the character or the.
Azrael Le Pew.
Yeah, that's it. But in this one, it's not him. It's the Robin knockoff, or the future Robin guy. What's his name?
Yeah, Jason Todd, Tim Drake. You know, who was the first one? Nightwing.
Nightwing. That's it. Nightwing is who kind of like I think is going to be brought into it. And I don't want to give too much of his story away, so I'm not going to talk too much more about it. But
Okay.
that's kind of what I gathered. I mean, I only read it a couple times, but that's the story as far as I can tell. And it's very good, very, very grounded, very good story. Very easily taken in the first couple times I read it too. Like I thought it was like 73 pages. So at first I was like, oh man, I'm going to be confused. But once I got through it, it was actually very straightforward.
So he's making a feature?
Yeah, it's a feature film. I think he originally was going to do it as a short, but he just got into writing and he basically got so long that it's pretty much a feature now.
Nice.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you gave it a read, so I'll double check with him before I give it to you, but I'll send it to you.
Okay. So what else we got for today?
Well, I didn't have any planned political talks, but I did want to get to that because there's always shit in the news, you know.
Yeah, watching Ted Cruz get destroyed by I think we talked about this last week. Getting destroyed by Tucker Carlson was great.
What's hilarious about that is it was like, to me, it was like if you saw like two people who you just disgust, you know, you hate, and
So Paul Dano and
and
someone
then
else.
yeah, like if it was Paul Dano talking to the devil, okay, and I was like, damn, I kind of agree with Paul Dano today, you know, like there's no way I could agree with the devil, but I kind of sided with Paul Dano today, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Ted Cruz is a fucking asshole.
Idiot.
Like, that's the funny thing is that if I wanted to break those two people down, like that's the thing is Carlson's a bullshitter. Carlson's full of shit. He's getting paid to say and believe everything he says and believes.
Yeah.
And then he gets fired from Fox. Now he's got his own shit where he's like now he's just so wishy-washy. He's whatever fucking group of people he can bring in to watch him. He's just following their thoughts.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to him. He made fucking Ted Cruz look like a fucking idiot. And not that that's hard to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty easy to do. Just let Ted Cruz talk.
Yeah. But um what about World War III, huh?
Yeah, so Iran, huh?
Yeah. You
Weren't
ran.
we friends? We friends.
You better
Bomb,
run.
bomb, Iran.
But but also I think that like everybody's been making the comparison to Trump with Hitler though since he's like, you know, become political.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious that the most un-Hitlerist thing he could do is side with the Jews. You know?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? You know, like,
He's
but
gonna be a new dictator.
yeah,
Tater.
a limp dictator. Am I right? Oh, sorry.
Right.
It's- this dictatorship's gonna need some blue chew.
Oh, way to smooth your transition into our sponsor, Blue Chew.
Blue Chew, our sponsor who hasn't paid us yet, but at this point I might do it for gummies, you know?
Right.
I don't know. My issue with Blue Chew has always been like I have no problem getting a boner. The problem is that when I get a boner, I don't know what to do with it. You know, nobody wants to do with anything with it. Do you got a fucking gummy for that? You know,
It makes you limp.
it's like, no, it doesn't make me limp. It's more like, I don't know. That would be more like a
The solution would be to make you limp.
Well, I mean, I was thinking more like a Bill Cosby kind of gummy, but still, you know.
Wow. Canceled on episode 2.
These are jokes, people. Don't worry. Well, these are jokes. If you don't know what a joke is, it's something we say that we think is funny, but we don't actually believe.
What? Like Jesus?
Oh, damn. Now you're going to get me canceled. You know how many Christians there are out there?
How many Christians are watching this podcast right now?
Yeah, that's fair. But to all the Christians that are watching, I apologize for my very blunt friend who wants to make Jesus jokes. And that's cool because this is a free country.
Not anymore.
For now.
For now.
Like, I don't know. But by the time we get to our 5th podcast and they find out that we shit on Trump and government at the end of every podcast, they're gonna be like sending out the military on us.
We're gonna get raided.
I mean, if nothing else, we'll enjoy the attention.
Uh-oh, did you die again?
No, I don't think so. Hello.
Yep. Hello? Okay. You're back.
Microphone checker. Microphone checker. I'm on the left. Want the bottle ritter. Make a lot of suffer. We good?
We're good.
Okay. So, any other political news you can think of that we want to comment on?
Not that we haven't already talked about.
Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard had an allergic reaction to some shit the other day. Saw something about that. She's apparently okay because she's already back in front of cameras backing Trump about Iran.
Okay.
Iran could have nuclear weapons. So apparently she's not too sick.
Not sick enough.
But did I tell you about my my Oppenheimer joke I did?
I think so. Refresh my memory.
I said that I think the real reason that Israel decided to bomb Iran is because they noticed that the viewership of Oppenheimer went up in Iran. And, you know, since it's basically a training video.
Wow.
It's like they were like, let's bomb them. They're trying to figure out how to make a bomb from 50 years ago.
You're gonna feel really bad when we bomb Iran.
Bomb Iran. Sorry, I just remembered that and I had to do it again.
Bomb Iran.
Do you think like all the Trumpers are gonna make that their thing, and then we're gonna get blamed because we came up with that today?
Yes, we're gonna get blamed. A lot of Trumpers, magnetards, listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all it will take is one. All it'll take is one that gets it and goes to the right meeting or the right fucking rally. You know? Could you imagine like one Trumper listens to this and says that's funny, and then he goes to a fucking Trump rally and then he gets on fucking Daily Show with fucking old dude who always goes to the Trump rallies to make him look stupid, you know?
Yeah.
Jordan Klepper literally fucking interviews a guy and he starts going bomb Iran, and then like it's a fucking viral and it's all our fault.
Do we get money if that happens?
One could hope. You know?
Right.
It would be the weirdest thing to call like the patent office right now. It'd be like, yeah, I want patent on bomb, 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 bomb. All right. I'm going to end off the podcast because I can't stop laughing at my own jokes. I'm pretty sure that's a sign of that you've come to the end of the podcast. Derek, you got anything else for the people out there?
I got nothing, man. Check me out on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. What else you got? You got some socials you can throw out there for them?
Facebook, basically. That's it. And
Okay.
YouTube.
Well, I'm proud to say that I have solidified all of my main 3 socials under Chad Perone Comedy. You can go to Facebook, the Gram, or TikTok and look up Chad Perone Comedy. You'll find me. I'm working on possibly getting some shit going on X, even though I haven't really been on there in forever. But me and a buddy decided it might be fun to troll some celebrities.
Nice.
And then, yeah. So shout out to everybody. We'll be hopefully, if you see this on my YouTube, that we will continue doing this. I will also be having features that may actually have some people other than Derek, so he can get really jealous.
No,
but
make me jealous.
The Weirdo Beardo podcast will be bring more extended content, and as well as look forward to seeing the Comedy 409 podcast soon, where I'm actually going to be doing a 2-camera setup.
Wow.
So you'll actually get to see my not so pretty face.
I won't be a part of that. I can't be seen in public.
Not right now, but if you're ever in town, I might drag your ass over there.
Fair enough.
But anyway, thank you, sir, for joining us, and we will do this again very soon. Do you have any ideas about what maybe next time we want to talk about?
Not a clue.
Not a clue?
Not a clue.
Well, so far we went MCU, we went DCU. What do you say we get into it about like Alien? Because I know that you have some thoughts about Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus. Bleh.
We can go through the Alien world where we talk about Aliens, and all the originals, and then we can talk about the new one. We can talk about Prometheus and its followers. Or its follow-ups. I meant the movies, not the followers. Which, by the way, you saw the video when I was in Lafayette. When I said Prometheus, they went, woo!
Leave it to Louisiana to fuck things up.
All right, so let's look forward to our Alienverse podcast next time.